We are back, right?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that. This is the second session of the third day of the symposium. And apart from me moderating the panel, this panel is very special for me because of my passion to this subject. So I feel very honored to have with us today. Actually, everyone that's here is somewhere else in the world. So we have Savran from Sweden, but he's right now in Çeşme. We have Åman in the beautiful streets of Paris. We have Hägg in Switzerland. We have Esra, Turan, Tombak in Ankara. And I'm in Istanbul. And my name is Çakır Aidan. And our speakers will talk about their projects on improving the urbanization systems for a more sustainable future. So I'm going to first start with Savran with the presentations, and I'm going to introduce people one by one before their individual presentations. So we have here the Savran with us. He's a municipal councillor in Autrement municipality, entrepreneur and an engineer. He has run engineering and architectural activities for 25 years with several notable building projects, most of which have a sustainability profile. Since 2014, he has held significant positions of trust as a politician for the Center Party, a green liberal center-right party in Swedish politics. From 2015 to 2019, he was a member of the Center Party's national board. Welcome, John, and hope you are well. How is Çeşme?
Çeşme is wonderful. We have a little colder weather now. Maybe it's about 10-15 degrees warm, but we had 2 weeks with over 20 degrees, like Swedish normal summer temperature here.
Okay. That's great. That's nice to hear. I'm going to start sharing the screen for your presentation shortly. Okay. Bear with me for 1 second. Okay. If you can see the screen, guys, yes. That's great. Then you can start, John. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. And my name is Savran. I live in a small community named Duved in Sweden, in the western mountain regions on the border with Norway. As Esra said, I have run an architectural and engineering firm for 20 years, but I'm currently busy carrying out my democratic duty as a municipal councillor in Åman municipality. I'm chairman of the board of planning and building, and also chairman of the development committee in my area. If you look at the next picture, regarding my name, can you see the passport, the Ottoman passport here? Yes, my family comes from Turkey. In fact, I'm now in our summer house in Çeşme, Izmir, as Ece said. And this is a passport or visa for my grandmother's father. His name was Ahmed Hilmi. And this guy was sent to Europe to pave the way and make contacts some years before the formation of the Republic of Turkey. And in this document, we can follow his and his family's travel all around Europe as a curiosity. You can't read it maybe, but you can see in the document that my grandmother's sister, Müesser, was born in Hamburg in north of Germany in 1922. My Swedish municipality, Åre, is, as I said, a large but sparsely populated place located in the mountainous border areas of to Norway. This is the place where people from Stockholm and all Scandinavia comes for skiing and for a huge variation of outdoor activities. This is a place for innovations, new outdoor brands, and new subcultures connected to the outdoor lifestyle there. Åre is one of Sweden's most attractive places and most valuable national brands, in fact. Almost everybody in Sweden has some kind of relationship to Åre. During the last 10 years, we have seen a huge population growth of 20%. And we now see that people from denser populated areas, as for example, Stockholm, who wants to change their lifestyle, are attracted by the possibilities of the high quality of life that Åre offers. We can look at the next picture now, Hägg. This is a rather interesting picture. You can see here, this is the World Value Service. It's an international research program devoted to the scientific and academic study of social, political, economic, religious, and cultural values of people in the world. If you look at this picture, we can see that Sweden is in fact a rather extreme country according to values. We can find Sweden up in the right corner. Sweden is the most self-expression and at the same time most secular rational country in the world. So the question is this good or bad? Well, I would say it's neither or, it's just what it is, but it explains the way Swedes behave and how they choose to live their lives. And it also affects how the world looks at Sweden. If we take the next picture and go deeper into this and study it, please look at this diagram. If we see all, we can here see all the 290 municipalities in Sweden. And we can find Åre, you see where I marked Åre, among the most green, alternative and liberal municipalities in the country, in fact, along with Stockholm and some other cities. So according to values, lifestyle and tolerance, this is a rather unique place in the world. And maybe it's because of this, those new ideas about arranging the development of a more sustainable future can grow, I don't know. But we have new ideas about how small context can affect the big world outside.
Jan, you need to reshare your images. We can't see them.
Okay.
Just a second.
Sorry.
For small technical trouble. I'm so sorry. And you can next now.
Okay, sorry, I had a quick electricity cut. Strange. All right, we're back.
We're back. We can change the picture to picture number 5 with the water drop. Can we all see it now?
Yes.
Good.
Well,
all over Turkey, people know about the 13th century poet and Sufi philosopher Rumi, or Mevlana, as we say in Turkey. He once uttered these famous words: "You are not a drop in the ocean, you are the ocean in a drop." What does this mean? Well, this means that the entire possibility of the world resides inside of you, and you can create from that space. As human beings, we are not totally dependent on strong leaders, a strong state administration, or some organization ruling over our heads. The power and the solution dwell inside of every single individual walking on this earth. We can also remember that 100 years ago, after the Ottoman era, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk released the power of women by including them in the construction of the new Republic of Turkey. That was something new and rather revolutionary, but totally necessary to build a strong, prosperous nation at that time. So now is the time to take the next step, I think, in creating a more sustainable world. And according to Mevlana or Rumi, this is made by releasing the power of every individual, men, women, and children. In fact, we don't have so much time anymore waiting for the solutions to come only from above, from state departments, elected politicians, or strong leaders anymore. I think that one conclusion of Rumi's thoughts is that we as individuals and group of individuals surely can build our own sustainable future if we only are allowed proper resources and the right tools. Let's say, give us the ingredients and we can bake our own baklava. This is how I look at the world according to Rumi's words. Another conclusion is that decisions who has impact on people's everyday ordinary life should be taken closer to their own kitchen tables than what is the case today. In nowadays Sweden, widening gaps in life conditions between city and countryside is one of the most central challenges for us. The differences have a direct effect on public and private service, cultural offerings, work, transports, housing, and the declining trust in the democratic social systems. According to these, the positive side effects of the tragic corona pandemic is the so-called Zoom boom. Have you heard it? This expression, Zoom boom? For example, you don't longer need to live in central Istanbul. In fact, you can have a higher quality of life and be more productive living in, for example, Çeşme. You don't longer need to live in central Stockholm. You can have a higher quality of life and be more productive living in such a small community as Duved. And Duved has, thanks to its small size of inhabitants, the possibility to be this model creator and lead the way for future rural and urban development in Sweden. Rural investments through innovation are the future's large and untapped possibility, in fact. And I strongly believe that the countryside can be the starting point of a new sustainable society that derives from the visions of local actors' experiences and ideas. So let us learn more about this by handing over the word to my friend and creative leader of the Duved project, Åman. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. It's so important for us to have a Turkish origin politician be such a key person in this project. So thank you for your lovely introduction. We are now going to have Jan Åman to continue talking about the Duved project. Jan Åman is a creator, writer, and activist working in the cross-section between social innovation, food systems, architecture, and art. Since 2018, he's the creative director of the development of Duved, a village in the northern Swedish mountains. In 2015, he led the innovation program for the USA Pavilion at the World's Fair in Milan, which was on the future of food systems. Exhibitions he has curated and produced have 5 times been selected as on the world's top 10 of that year by Art Forum New York. He's been teaching and lectured at, among others, Harvard's Graduate School of Design, Stadtschule in Frankfurt am Main, sorry about pronunciation, the Architecture School in Louvain, Belgium, together with Mia Hägg, KTH, and Umeå University. So I'm gonna give you the floor, Jan, welcome. Okay, is this the correct page for you? Hello? We might have lost Jan in the current. Okay, he's back.
There I am.
Hello,
I'm
Jan.
back.
Welcome
Hello.
back.
Sorry about that.
No
I'm
problem.
just.
Could you hear us?
Okay. So, thank you, Jan. It's such an honor. I have to really say this, to be working with a political leader with the cultural perspectives and visions that the world so badly needs. And I must tell you that not everyone is like this. And it's incredible that the Duved municipality has Jan Savran, and that we can work together. Okay, so Etche, please try to follow, since I don't see, you just have to try to follow me through the text and change images all along the way.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, so what do we do in Duved? Why are we here with you in Turkey, working on a tiny village on the countryside? I mean, that wouldn't have happened a few years back. So let's start with Sweden. Sweden is famous for ABBA, for IKEA, for H&M, for Spotify and Björn Borg. But even more, and this I've learned through the Swedish Institute that is part organizer, Sweden's most important international brand is said to be the Swedish model, a societal model also called the welfare state that had its launching event through the Stockholm exhibition in 1930. That's quite some time ago, and it's incredible that it's still there. In an era of rapid industrialization, Sweden developed a model of how to handle the needs and the social injustices that came out of a drastic change in living patterns back then, behavioral patterns, economy, when people moved from rural areas to urban areas. Switch image. Since then, the world has changed radically. The world of 2021 is very different from that of 1930. Sweden is different. The entire globe is different. Nations are different. Cities are different. The countryside is different. We live in what is often called the era of late capitalism. What was once public has to a large extent become private. The gentrification of the cities has taken us from the idea of the melting pot to that of the gentrified city, where everyone is kind of the same. The tech sector has generated corporations that are much, much larger than the industrial ones. An international economy simply has become global. Social media has transformed our ways to how we act and react to opinion. Fake news has entered the world, and the global environment needs us to urgently change our societal structure. We need to be more locally self-sufficient, but still in a global society. Next image. During the past 30 years or so, the urbanization process has moved to Asia, to South America, and to Africa. With the news that 2/3 of the global population now live in urban areas, we in the West, I must say, lost orientation. We continued to only look at the urban expansion, focusing on mega cities and even on super mega cities. And believe me, I was one of them. Simply because that is one of the strongest narratives in modern society, well told by Charles Dickens, Alexander Dumas, Fyodor Dostoevsky, Charles Baudelaire, and many, many more. And we must not forget, the urbanization of the globe was and is a huge market. And we all know that market generates attention. Next image. Which meant, to a great extent, that we forgot to look at the new and developing possibilities of the West. It was not until the pandemic that people on a broader level started to understand the consequences and the possibilities of the society beyond industry towards the digitalized society. To many, it was and still is a big shock. Now it's time for action. It's time to redirect the attention span in order to be relevant again. The climate issue will not let us wait, neither the needs for the democracy or to update democracy and to reinvent social diversity, not least the lifestyle development of the cities. And the fact is, if it was possible to quickly generate a model that for the entire society that worked in 1930, why should it not be today? Next image. This narrative is a key and a starting point for the processes of developing Duved. Duved is all about digging on a micro level in a small village and keep the needs on a macro level as the guiding principle all along the way. The question we ask is very simple. How can a small village, based on the old idea of the village, the sort of the village's DNA, collaboration and sharing show us the way to the circular systems and economies, the prototypes and the models that we need to build a sustainable and diverse society. And along the way, find models for a better and more sustainable social life, thus flipping positions the village, not the city, becomes the innovation engine of the future. Duved is a village. When I started to work there, there were 700 people living in Duved. Now it is a bit over 1,000 inhabitants. The starting point in 2017 was obvious. What are the possibilities of a small village up north where people live and work, a very much existing village, starting with those living there and what is already there, and have the citizens with us all along the way. And I will add one little thing, that what we immediately decided was that let's try to start with everything at the same time. So this is not an architectural project. It's not a project about food. It's not a project about this and that. It's a project about social change. Sorry, I lost my image. So the process is based on the following structure. Number one, accessibility. We wanted to have this not for the few, but for the many, to create a village center that can handle the gentrification spiral. And we started with a local public real estate company, Årehus, owned 100% by the municipality. And the CEO, Helena Olausson, started to acquire enough land and property to secure rental housing, to secure a diverse society. And we created a development company with citizens. So, and this I think is a big thing, where we had the citizens, they have their own foundation, the municipal company, Årehus, and private investors, where the private investors allowed us to give the citizens the final vote in the board of directors. And this is supposed to be a rather unique thing. And we wanted to develop a service system as well as a local food system with business models that allow for sustainable, accessible cost levels. 2, democracy. We wanted to involve the citizens from the very start as part of the vision shaping process to find ways of how to implement the ideas of the citizens to the municipality. We generated village meetings, many of them, bringing the citizens to create the vision of the village together with all the others. Sorry, it's starting to be church. I'll try to move. The pandemic put this process at halt for a moment, but now we are back and work on a large aerial photograph on the floor. I hope you can see it on images. And we're generating and developing a digital tool that will allow the citizens to participate daily on what is possible in their own village. And of course, we're creating models, and we have a government program for this to connect the democratic ideas and the citizens' ideas with the leading. Oh yes, that was that, with leading creative competence. So I think this is important, that we're, again, as the European Union has said, bringing in the creative people like Mia Hägg, like Shigeru Ban, like Farshid Musavi, to help us do something unique, but based on the citizens' ideas. So, and the third thing was the food system, which is really a pilot within the pilot, because everybody understands food, which means that they understand what we're trying to do. So we're trying to achieve zero waste and total local production up north. And this is kind of a weird thing, but it really works. And we're creating economical systems which are based on collaboration between kitchens, between the people living in Duved and their own gardens, and adding small gardens and greenhouses and so on. At the top of the list from the village meetings was that the citizens wanted a greenhouse. So we dared to ask the Japanese architect Shigeru Ban to design it, and together with him, we've developed something that I think is quite unique. It's a house with a construction that can actually be raised by the citizens themselves, and that contain like a new kind of cultural center, which we call the greenhouse, a garden, but also a place for scientists and others to work. We're looking at mobility and infrastructure. this is image 17 or something like that, trying to create a car-free village. If this is possible, we don't know yet. And what we call village hubs, where we have cars, co-owned cars, or car sharing. We have storage, and we also have root cellars, so that people can actually have locally produced food all year around, even up north. Mia will talk a lot about the housing projects, and we have 5 fantastic architects working with us, each one producing a very small house, 200 square meters, which are 5 kind of different typologies for new living patterns. So we're trying to bring in as much creative input, but also creating collaborative teams, where Mia and others are working with both material delivery and companies and production companies and factories and so on. And we have realized that the pandemic created new needs. So we actually have in these houses, we can see that one of them, for instance, by Elizabeth Sundin, is now very attractive for companies to come up and work 2 weeks at a time, concentrated 8 people at a time. We didn't know from the beginning that we needed a knowledge and creative system, but that's what has become a very, very important part. So we're developing something we call campus without university, where universities are gathering to Duved to have students and researchers studying what we do and then doing their own projects from that. It's Umeå University, the KTH in Stockholm, even Harvard is interested. So, and this is a sort of new possibility for the rural areas where learning and doing is combined. And we're also creating a residency program for architects, designers, farmers, etc. And as a consequence of all this, an added and very important part is how to communicate the vision and the results. Therefore, we're planning a larger innovation summit in 2022, which I hope you all can be part of, and in 2023, and then package the results as a Duved exhibition to take the Swedish model from the Stockholm exhibition 1930 to a Swedish model 2.0 in 2025, where the village has taken the place of the city as innovation engine in the entire society. That is also why this meeting today is so important. And I want to send a big thank you both to the Circle, to Çakır and everybody else in Turkey, and to the Swedish organizers. And I hope that this can lead to a long-term collaboration with Turkey. Let us generate the future together. So Mia, now it's time to go from ideas to reality, and a very concrete example of how brilliant creatives can lead the way to the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. I'm just going to stop share before. Very, very impressive project. So looking forward to hearing from Mia Hägg now. She's in Switzerland at the moment. She's a Swedish architect running her own office, Habitat Autrement, in Locarno, Switzerland. She founded her office in Paris. As the name Habitat Autrement indicates, a particular focus for the practice has been innovative public housing. She started her career in Ateliers Jan Nouvel and later Herzog de Meuron, where she was the project manager for the National Stadium of the 2008 Beijing Olympics. In parallel her practice, Mia Hägg is also involved in the academic part of our profession. Most recently, she has been teaching at Accademia di Architettura in Mendrisio. For many years, she has been collaborating with Jan Åman on various experimental projects in Sweden. Apologies for mispronunciations, but welcome, Mia. How are you? Hope you're well.
Thank you, Ece. I hope I pronounced your name correctly, Ece.
It's correct, yes.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here with you all. So I will now share my screen. And I will go on full screen. Is it full screen mode now?
Yes.
And you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, so as Jan said, my project is a small part of for this pilot project for community development, including everything from food production to new alternative housing and workspaces that John and Jan have explained. We are developing a prototype for prefabricated atelier housing entirely built by recycled material, mostly wood. This is the site, a strip of grass along the main road of Duved. Behind we have existing housing painted in traditional Falu red. In the fond of the picture, you can see the wooden church from the 19th century. Site visits are the most important thing before you start a project. I came in October. It all seemed a bit gray, as you can see. But then there are things that you discover that gives you inspiration. Here I entered the church you saw in the previous picture, and the wooden interiors have beautiful marble painting, and suddenly also the sun came through. Architecture is really about these magical moments of space in time. During the visit, we also had lunch at a nearby restaurant, Kretsloppshuset in Mersil, with a winter garden and homegrown food. Here you can see Jan and Shida Shaigan, one of the architects collaborating with me. As you will soon see, this lush interior gave me an idea for the theme of my project. In this community, as John explained initially, known for winter sports and alpine life, this garden-like atmosphere felt like an unexpected oasis. Here we see Fashid Mousavi, one of the other architects involved together with Axel Volgesh in the same restaurant. Jan always organizes projects around visions, which are bold, clear, and idea-driven, surrounding himself with people he likes to work with and be creative with, quite the opposite to normal planning bureaucracy. That can create challenges when it comes to administrative issues. With all its rules and regulations, our system is often not flexible enough. Here we're sitting around a table in Duved discussing how to approach the project. In these times of Zoom, Teams, and Skype, I look back onto these meetings and workshops in presence with regret. I do hope that our profession and the quality of work, for the quality of the work, that we can soon get back to this kind of working in proximity with each other, with our colleagues very soon. The starting point for my project and the 4 architects working alongside me was a very conventional zoning plan from the 1990s for single housing units along the main street of Duved, the picture that I showed you initially. Here's the main street, and then we have 5 plots for single housing, 2-story single housing of 200 square meters, which Jan already explained. This plan, the 2 floors accept a maximum ridge height of 12 meters. And 12 meters is a lot for a 2-story building. If you add 2 floors, you get roughly 7 meters, which means that you have 5 meters left to the ridge. So what can we do with the remaining volume? Number 3 in the drawing that you can see. That was the question that I asked myself initially. A winter garden with a greenhouse under the roof. Here residents can grow tomatoes, carrots, beans in their own garden directly under their own roof. Openable windows create natural ventilation, and rainwater is collected in channels just above the planting beds. It's an extra space for possibilities, a winter garden, an atelier workspace, a greenhouse. An important part of sustainable planning is also, in my view, programmatic flexibility and rethinking of function and use. Our living spaces do not need to be limited to one single function. We need more unexpected space, free of premeditated function in our homes and workplaces. In this project, the tectonic efficiency is also very important. The idea is to be able to build each floor like a box and in the factory and stack them directly on the site. Why an atelier? Jan and I, it's great that Jan is in Paris today, wandering around, have been exploring the possibilities of this typology, atelier buildings, for years. We've been fascinated by this unconventional and liberating 19th century urban typology and used it as a model for different multi-use projects, academic as well as real. And here's a collage from one of Jan's previous Paris trips. And this is me and my team in my first office in Paris, an atelier space in Marais. And we had no furniture in the beginning, so we were working directly on the floor, as you can see. The atelier was also an important inspiration in the modern movement, as you know, and here is Atelier aux Enfants by Le Corbusier in 1922, an interior. The atelier typology has also been a reference for me in social housing projects that were built in France. Why do dwellings, especially low-cost dwellings, need to have 240 ceiling height, a standardized small entrance hall, kitchen, living room, small bedrooms, a small bathroom, when dwellings can be all differentiated with duplexes, triplexes, with 6-meter ceiling height, like our project here in Åtrament. This is, in fact, 25 apartments, all different. A flat roof can become a shared roof terrace with individual allotment gardens, like in our project here in Sunon. Here you see on top the terrace and the various gardens. Facades can be completely openable so that your living room can become a covered terrace in summer, like here in our project in central Bordeaux. Or here, a generous terrace to overlook the Rivière Garonne, also in Åtrament. Our work in Duved is relevant in the context of sustainable planning because we are prototyping both new typologies for housing, for living, as well as a model for self-sufficiency. Right from the start, the idea was that the typology could be further developed in other places. And of course, this atelier house has a great relevance for urban settings where the need for growing food locally could be even greater. Il faut cultiver son jardin. We must cultivate our gardens, like Voltaire wisely said. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mia, for your presentation. I'm going to now give the floor to John Savran again, just to make a quick wrap up and a conclusion to the Duved project. And then we will move on to Esra, Turan, Tombak, talking about energy efficiency in buildings. Here you go, John.
Thank you. Thank you, Mia and Jan, for your presentations. It was wonderful to listen to your different perspectives on our common project. So how is life in Duved, dwelling in Mia's wonderful house, do you think? Imagine yourself fall asleep, safe in this warm house. Outside, up north, is sparkling cold with a lot of snow. On the skies plays the northern light. And in the morning you wake up and update yourself with the high-speed broadband, what happened in the world, before you take your skis out and take 3 or 4 ski runs in the downhill slopes before breakfast with your family. Then you maybe step on the electrical train and travel through the open border between Sweden and Norway to the University of Trondheim to attend a lecture there, for example. In the afternoon, you return to Duved and together with your family prepare a sustainable dinner based on locally grown ingredients. Well, is this a fantasy? No, in fact, this is a small picture that somehow already is reality in Duved. Catching the night train, go to sleep in Duved and wake up in the middle of Stockholm. Living in a place where the heating of the houses during the cold winters takes place without fossil energy, easy commuting by electrical vehicles, release of negative stress, breathing fresh, clean air and drinking the water directly from clean lakes and streams. Have both the feeling and knowledge that you and your neighbors can really influence your own reality and future, that your politicians and decision makers are listening to you. This is a vision of which some things already are reality, in fact. So, if a sustainable future cannot be created through fossil fuels, centralization by big cities and mass production, what should we do then? Well, what I, as leading politician, want to achieve is truly sustainable development, not only in words. And this is not made by only ruling. This is made by enabling and releasing the power that exists within every human being. And to achieve this, we need really to challenge our old systems, I think. The next step we must take is to develop the new sustainable and circular. And I think one answer to this is a good and trusting collaboration between politicians, architects, investors, and above all, a good dialogue with citizens. So at last, in all this, remember Rumi's words as the key to success. You are not a drop in the ocean, you are the ocean in a drop. Thank you for listening to us.
Thank you, John. Really nice words. Can I come tomorrow?
Please do.
You're welcome.
I'm taking that. Thank you very much. And thanks for your contribution to this project as a politician. It's very, very valuable. Now I'm going to move to Esra, Turan, Tombak. I find Esra Hanım's contribution to this panel very valuable because while Duved is about creating a new and innovative system to urbanization, or almost they call it reurbanization, in Turkey now we're like moving towards, we need to start the discussion of sustainability firstly by improving our existing system. Of course, and we are very inclined in Turkey to build new buildings, and I appreciate that she's here to show us how improving the existing is the key for a more sustainable future in Turkey. Esra Turan Tombak is an architect and recently working as the head of department in the Ministry of Environment, Urbanization and Climate Change. She's been working in the ministry for 24 years in different positions as an architect, branch manager and department manager responsible for design and supervision of administrative structures such as government house, courthouse, prisons, ministry buildings, and also participated in the preparation of secondary legislation of energy performance of buildings. Before being government staff, she was working as site architect. She was working in the restoration project of civil architectural buildings registered in Diyarbakır Suici region. She has LEED GA certificate and has been working as the coordinator of World Bank Finance Energy Efficiency in Public Buildings projects and Seismic Resilience and Energy Efficiency Project in Public Buildings projects since 2019. Welcome, Esra Hanım. Hope you're well, and I'll leave the floor to you. If you're speaking, your audio is on mute.
Okay.
Perfect.
I think you can hear me now.
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for the presentations before me. Yes, I really envy. I want to come and live in Duved, and Mia really, as an architect, I really envy. The designs are so good, and I would like to live in this place. What are the conditions? Maybe you can help me. Because of, yes, I'm living in a big city. Very crowded every morning, and after work I'm spending nearly more than 1 hour for to reach home, as there is huge traffic jam. So it was so good. Okay, thank you, Ece Hanım, for introducing me. Yes, I would like to introduce you our project in energy efficiency in public buildings. Yes, you were talking about micro scale. Now this is a little bit, I think, macro scale. What we are doing is to, what is our aim is to reduce the energy use in central government buildings, and also we try to, aim to inform the development of sustainable financing mechanisms to support scale-up national program for energy efficiency in public buildings. Our project is a 6 years project. The project duration is 6 years, and it will finish at the end of 2025. We have a budget, total budget of $200 million US. And our target is to renovate energy efficiently about 700 public buildings under central line ministries such as schools, hospitals, university campuses, and administration buildings. Yes, we have two components in our project. One of them is the renovation of central government buildings, and the other one is the technical assistance for project management. Our goal in the buildings, public buildings, is to save at least 20% energy consumption, and the payback period for this savings must be should be 12 years. And if we are using extra measures, if we have some new technologies in buildings for the energy efficiency, then the payback period is a little bit much. It is 20 years. And we are also renovating the public buildings using these using the energy performance contracts. Also, within our project, we will have 5 or 6 nearly zero energy buildings. What we expect at the end of the project, what are the sustainability measures? As we are focusing on energy efficiency and use of renewable energy sources, we will reduce fuel and electricity consumption, and we will have budgetary savings as a result of these energy savings. We will reduce the CO2 emissions resulting from these energy savings. And the comfort conditions in the public buildings will rise, and the awareness will be raised on energy efficiency. we will, as I said, we will develop energy performance contracts in public buildings, and we try to disseminate the nearly zero energy buildings starting from the public through pilot applications. As you know, the government should be the lead in the sector for the new approaches for implementing especially these energy efficiency measures. And of course, when you look to the building stock of Turkey, we have over 9 million building, and about 100,000 of these are public buildings. So we cannot include all the public building stock in the project. So we have some eligibility criteria and we have some selection criteria to while selecting the buildings. As Turkey is in the earthquake region, the buildings must be structural and seismically safe, and in the buildings there mustn't gone into a full energy efficient renovation in the past 10 years, and the buildings must be at least 5 years old. When we started the project, it was 2019, so we are choosing the buildings that are constructed before 2014, and the buildings must be owned by the central government. The municipality buildings are not included in our project, and there should be no plan for office moves, closure, building demolition and privatization. And also we are looking the building area, construction area, the facade, what are the possibilities, what are the potential in the building facade. If there is a potential for renewable energy, the climate zone and the energy use in these buildings are the other criteria that we are looking while selecting the buildings. What we are doing, firstly, we look at the building envelope, if we can insulate the walls, if we can change the windows with efficient ones, and if we can do some cool or green roofs, implement some cool and green roofs. Also, afterwards, after checking the building envelope, we check the heating and cooling systems, including water heating. We upgrade or replace the boilers. We can change the fuel to from oil or oil to gas. The control systems are important to control the energy use. We are checking the building according if we can implement, apply cogeneration or trigeneration, the automation, waste heat recovery. Also in the lighting system, we are trying to upgrade the lighting system by using light emitted diodes or energy efficiency lighting system. We are changing the system into energy efficient lighting system. Also, mostly we are using the solar water heating and rooftop solar photovoltaic panels on the roofs for renewable energy systems. Firstly, we are making investment grade audits in the buildings and to evaluate which energy efficiency systems, energy efficiency measures can be taken in these buildings. Then after the investment grade audit, finalizing and approving this investment grade audit, then we prepare the technical designs, then the construction, implementation starts, and after the implementation, the most important thing is to get this investment, energy efficiency investment, back in 12 years. So we are checking, measuring and verifying the savings. If we can reach the calculations that we, or the feasibilities that we made are corrected or not. And in the energy performance contracts, we are also doing investment grade audit, and these are design and build contracts. The company is going and making the energy audits. We agree on the energy efficiency measures that this company can do, and then they are preparing the technical designs, implementation. Afterwards, the performance tests are done, and the measurement and verification is done in 1 year's time. Also, as I said, we will have NZEP pilots. Here in Turkey, we haven't set NZEP requirements yet, but in this project, we prepare some requirements. There will be a reference building, and the NZEP pilot must have 40% of primary energy saving, and 25% of the primary energy consumption should be from renewable source. And for hospitals, as it is not so easy to have this 25%, we assume 5% of the primary energy consumption can be get from renewable source, and the energy performance certificate class should be A. Here in this slide, in this table, you can see the results of our first implementations. In our first implementation, we have 10 institutions, and in these 10 institutions, there are ministry buildings, schools, university building, and hospitals. And as you can see from the last column, the energy savings are differ from 25%, approximately 25% to nearly 80%. And the average saving in all these 10 institutions buildings are approximately nearly 50%. And we nearly finalized the implementations in these 10 buildings, and beginning from 2022 we will have the measurement and verification stage. I want to show you the photos from the buildings that we that the renovation has finished. This one is a school building, vocational technical high school. You can see the photo of the before renovation, photo of the school before renovation and after renovation. Here what we have done, we improved the building envelope performance with thermal insulation. Also we replaced the windows with triple glass window. We improved the heating system. We changed the boiler with the energy efficient one. We put thermostatic valves. Also renovate the circulation. Also we renovate the circulation pumps. In the lighting system, we replaced the lighting system with LED luminaries. And on the roof of the facade, there is 50 kilowatts of electricity generation capacity photovoltaic installation. And we applied energy monitoring system in this building, and the total energy saving is approximately 74%. And this is the ministry building. On the ministry, in the ministry building garden, there was an open parking area. We implement photovoltaic installation with 40 kilowatt electricity generation capacity, and there will be electric vehicle charging station in the parking area. Also, we made some renovation in the chillers of the building, and there is automation system established, and we changed the lighting with LED luminaries. And in this building, this is a new building, newly constructed building. That's why the energy efficiency measures that we implement are not much in number, and in this building the savings are 30%. This is a university building. Again, here we insulate the outer facade envelope and change the windows. Also, the main energy efficiency measure here is the use of photovoltaic panels having capacity of 100 kilowatts. And this is the energy performance. It is also a school. In this building, after the renovation, there will be 70% of energy saving. And again, here we insulate the building envelope. We change the windows with triple glass. We change the heating system boilers. And there is also photovoltaic panels on the roof having 250 kilowatts electric potential. And we also look for the comfort or I can say the contribution of the building users. Here, while painting while choosing the color of the paint of the school, the students of this school made some participated in the process, and they choose their own school's color, and this was really nice, as they were also the one part also in the renovation process. Thanks for listening me.
Thank you very much. Very informative presentation, Esra. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's for this session, we decided to stay on Zoom for the questions and answers and networking parts. So I'm going to, again, if you want to ask more questions, you can text on the Hopin platform, and I will read the questions for you. We already have a couple. So I'm going to, I think the first one is directed to Can Savran. Ayşe Şahin is wondering, having a question for Can Savran, what was the specific word for leaving chaotical city and live in a small place and community? It was like, I think, Are they mean? I don't know how to pronounce it correctly, but in the village that you're living, Are, I think she means, as I could hear. Mr. Savran, could you make it clear? Thank you.
Does she mean the name of our community, of our place of living, or did I understand the question right?
I think that's what she means, the community that you're living, like rather than living in a chaotic city, which I guess if you were living in a bigger city before. I'm sorry, Ayşe, if I'm not directing the question right, you can correct me. I'm guessing she means, were you living in a chaotic city before, and why did you concentrate on this community?
In fact, I have been living in small communities all my life. I know this is not a positive word in Turkey, but if you use the words şehirli and köylü, and I'm a modern köylü. And I have been living in small communities almost all of my life. And the name of our community, of my municipality, is Åre. And it's spelled A-R-E, R-E-E, but on the top of the A, we have a little circle, and it's pronounced O, Åre.
I'm writing now on the chat box, by the way.
Yes, but maybe she asked about the expression from what I call Zoom boom. We are often using Zoom and Teams to connect during the pandemic. And the Zoom boom means that people move out from the big cities to their summer houses and winter houses. And they now know that it's possible to in fact live not in the big city, but in their own summer and winter houses and have another type of life. So in our community, many people in Stockholm have understood that, oh, we don't have to live this life in Stockholm, very crowded. We can, in fact, work as usual and dwell in our winter houses in Åre, in my community, and have a very, very, very good life full of quality in another way that they are used to. So I don't know if this is an answer of the question.
I think so. I think she said she was wondering about that word Zoom boom. Is that what you're saying? Zoom as in where we are now, Zoom?
Yes.
And boom like B-O-O-M?
Yes.
Okay. So yes, Aisha, it's Zoom boom, your second option. Thank you. There is a question, I think, for Mia. From Nur Kayalı. Thank you for the presentation. It was very inspiring. I was wondering if there are any calculations regarding the energy consumption of the atelier house that has a greenhouse at the top. What is the effect on the heating loads?
Thank you. That's a very good question. And I would actually like to consult with Esra on that in that regard. Actually, we have not yet reached that stadium where we do calculations, which we obviously will have to do, because it also, we have one south orientation and we need to study very carefully how this will impact the climate during the year. What I should say is that this winter garden, it would be around minimum 14 degrees in the winter, so a little bit chillier than sort of indoor temperature, and then the outdoor temperature, the temperature will be regulated through these openable windows during the summer.
Thank you.
I could perhaps just add a couple of things there, that we're right now, because of the pandemic and other things, we have part of the teams already assembled, like with the factories and with the material delivery companies and so on. But some of the expertise that are helping us with these kinds of calculations are just now forming to make them more exact visions. But there also, since Mia's house is kind of stretching the limit for what is normal, that's a very special question. So we're talking with the Swedish authorities about this as well, because of course this has a very interesting effect, as Mia so well said, on urban areas as well. So it's a new typology, and new typologies sometimes need new rules. So we're looking at that together with researchers and expertise. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jan. Actually, Nur Kayalı also has a question for Esra Hanım. Thank you, Esra Hanım, for the presentation. I would like to ask a question about the user effects. After the renovations are done, are you giving some instructions to the users regarding the operational system and control system of the building? Yes, very good question.
Yes, this is the main topic, I think, in energy efficiency, because you renovate, you design some energy efficiency measures, you renovate the building, but if the building users are not familiar sometimes you are using some new technologies, and if the building users are not familiar with these new technologies, it is really sometimes painful in the effect. I mean, you cannot get the energy efficiency target that you want to reach at the end. Of course, in our project, we will have trainings to the building users. And the technical people in the buildings, in these are public buildings, technical people, we will have some trainings, and we will tell how these buildings, how they should use these buildings. For example, they mustn't all the time open the window because when the heating system is working, and so on. We will give some training, information. We will make information meetings, and at the time being, we are making stakeholder meetings with the building users and telling them what we are doing in these buildings, what will be the end product, let's say. We are trying to inform all the people about the project.
Thank you very much, Esra. I guess that's the biggest challenge in what you're doing, I'm sure. Thank you. So I have a question for myself. If there are no more questions, let me check. I have a question for Jan and Can, hopefully. So like, how do we start in Turkey? Like, how do we implement? Like, what can we learn from looking at Turkey and Sweden from the point of view of future needs? Where do we start from in our village systems to? I know this is a dream question, and you guys dreamed and now making it happen. So maybe
I think Jan have to start, since being
Yes.
Turkish and Swedish.
Well, I can try to start, and we can add on each other. I think it was very interesting to hear Esra Hanım's perspective of doing buildings in Turkey more energy efficient. I have questioned myself many times here in Turkey when I'm here, why we don't use the solar energy, for example, more, micro heating, water from the roofs, and electrical production in micro scale on our houses here in Çeşme. I think that Esra Hanım showed very well that those low-hanging fruits of energy efficiency has a very, very good economic advantage. And I became very, very happy when I heard that Turkey joined the Paris Agreement, because I think that the sustainable questions are not a burden economically. It's an opportunity to earn money for nations, in fact. And I think that Esra Hanım very well proved this. And something, Ece, that I have been thinking about is if there is a possibility to connect our project in Duved with some village or city in Turkey that has this kind of thoughts of sustainability and democratic development. I don't know if it's possible to connect us together to start some collaboration together according to these questions. I should think it would be rather interesting to have this connection together. I don't know what you say, Ece.
We talked about this before. Actually, I would be very excited to make that happen. So if anyone who's listening has an idea, or I'm also going to look into this. And if Esra Hanım has any ideas, like, I'm very open to keep this conversation going and move this system to Turkey somehow, in micro scale, of course.
I think if I put my few comments on that. I think it's very, very important to understand that it's not to learn from Duved, it's to learn from each other. We have very different stories and political histories in the recent years, and historically wise as well. And I think I would love to understand much more about Turkey. And I think there are some possibilities on like the circular economies, the sort of sharing possibilities that we are looking at now in Duved, that you probably have a lot more of in Turkey. So it's not a matter of just looking at us, but also looking at how can we develop a dialogue that's productive. So let's start that now. The second thing is that, I mean, Duved, the whole project is based on doing, not waiting, but doing. So it started with, as I said, the CEO of Årehus, the municipal real estate company, who just she needed, because there was an investment of like 300 million crowns, 30 million euros for a new school. And she was like, I can't do this if I don't have a strong model. So then she asked me, and then there's just been added people. And that's why then suddenly I realized, well, there's a Jan Savran who is perfect for this, who's like the one of the very, very few, I would say, in Sweden, perhaps Europe, who has the ability to sort of be the housing partner of a project like this. So it's, and I mean, we didn't know that before, but so, and then it's also a matter of you know, getting people like Mia and people like Farshid Musavi or Shigeru Ban to have an attractive idea enough to say that, yeah, we want to participate. So you just have to start. And if we can find a way to, you know, work with either Istanbul or smaller villages, it would be fantastic. It would be so nice. So let's do it.
Yes, so I'm unfortunately I'm gonna have to stop here, but I'm gonna stop saying yes, Jan, let's do it. Let's keep the conversation going. We have 5 minutes to the next session, but we can continue talking forever about this.
I want to show you. I actually am now reaching Notre Dame, so you can at least see that. Beautiful, no?
And under reconstruction, yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone, for this very informative, great session. And we will now move on to our next and final session of the symposium. So we can bye.